I'm here really to talk about leading without a title. And I can't think of a better example of leading without a title than Oseola McCarty. She didn't have a title. She wasn't a head of a department. She wasn't a minister. She wasn't a prime minister or president. She was a woman who washed other people's dirty laundry. And she had a choice, because you have a choice every day. You can be a victim or you can be a leader, but you can't do both. And you can tell a victim because they give away their power to get results done to external circumstances and other people. I'll repeat that again. You know that you're behaving like a leader if you give away your power to get things done to external conditions and other people. So she could have been a victim way more than all of us because she grew up in wretched poverty. She lived in absolute adversity, one difficulty after another difficulty over the course of her lifetime. And yet, by the time she passed away at the age of 91, she'd been honored by world leaders. She'd met with prime ministers and presidents. She'd even received an honorary doctorate from Harvard University. So who was this woman and why did she receive such acclaim? Well, here's her story. Ever since she was a young woman, she would take the coins that she would make washing other people's dirty laundry, and she would go down to her local bank and she'd make these daily, seemingly insignificant contributions. Just like every single one of you in this room, every single day, have the opportunity to make these small, daily, seemingly insignificant contributions. And those contributions, or those little acts of excellence, are so seemingly insignificant, you don't even do them. But small daily improvements, when done consistently over time, lead to world-class results. How do you build an epic life? One day at a time, one act at a time. How was Apple or Instagram or SpaceX or Dubai, that started off as a little pearl fishing village in the desert? One act at a time. And so she would take the money she would accumulate and she would go down to her local bank and make these daily, seemingly insignificant contributions. And the days slipped into weeks, the months slipped into years. Before she knew it, she was 87 years old. One day she walks into her bank and she looks at the teller on the other side of the counter, and he looks at her and he smiles. He says, "Oseola, how are you?" And she said, "Fine." He said, "Oseola, do you have any idea how much money you've accumulated as a result of these little, seemingly insignificant contributions and deposits you've made every day?" And she said, "No, why don't you tell me?" He said, "Oseola, you've accumulated $250,000. He said, "Tell me what you want me to do with it." Well, she was a simple woman. She did not know how much money that was. So the man behind the counter got an idea. He put the 10 coins on the counter and he said, "Oseola, this is your money. Tell me what you want me to do with it." She pointed to the first coins and she said, "I want you to give these to my nieces and my nephews because I love them so much." Then she pointed to the remaining coins and said, "I would like you to give these to set up a scholarship for poor African-American students who still know how to dream, who dream of being leaders and astronauts, mothers and poets, firefighters and police officers in a world that has forgotten how to dream." And that act of humanity in a world that also needs serious amounts of humanity touched people around the world. Ted Turner was so impressed. He said, "If an elderly washerwoman could give away all her money, I could certainly give away $1 billion, which is exactly what happened. A reporter tracked down Oseola and said, "This is incredible. You're giving away all of your money. What's your dream?" And she said, "Well, you know, I'm an elderly woman, but I so But I so dearly wish that before I die, I could see the first student walk across the graduation stage. But I know because of my advanced age, that's not going to happen. And yet, ladies and gentlemen, 1 month before she died, the first student walked across the graduation stage. And after Oseola died, another reporter tracked down the student and said, "Did you hear the news? Your benefactor has gone. Oseola has died. Do you have any comment?" And I've never forgotten what the student said. Heaven couldn't have gotten a better angel. She was an inspiration, she was a blessing, and she was a treasure to the entire earth. Right now, you are successful government leaders. Some of you are in the private sector, and a lot of you have big titles. How many of you in this room think you're successful? Show of hands here. Excellent, because you are. And yet, let me ask you this question. What if the things that you now believe to be important on the last hour of your last day, you realize those things matter very little? You see, this society has sold us that on these measures of success, like how much money you have, the car that you drive, the title on your business card, whether you're eating in the right restaurants, whether you're accumulating. But I propose to you that those are false seductions. Those are shiny toys that real leaders do not pursue. You see, and if you want to have the results only 5% of the population has, you've got to be willing to think and behave like only 5% of the population. And that's why every true leader in government and in the private sector, they're called weird. They're called eccentric. When you do the things of real leadership, you're going to be called strange. Get strong enough in your own skin that when people laugh at you or when they throw stones at you, you keep on going. And I propose to you only two things are going to matter when you get to the end of your life. Number one, it won't be the handbag, the watch, the title, the money, the cars. It won't be social status. It won't be jockeying to be liked. It'll be, who did you become? Did you have honor? Did you have dignity? Were you a woman or a man of authenticity and integrity? Were you a person of your word in a world of broken promises? Were you someone who created value even if you swept streets? Who did you become? Were you brave? Were you graceful? Not only when your career was going well, but when your heart was broken. Are you deep? Are you honorable? So who did you become? And number two, how many people did you help? How many people did you help? How many lives did you touch? When I was growing up, my dad used to say to me, "Robin, when you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced." He said, "Son, live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice." Who did you become? How many people did you help? And with that, I want to thank you very much, and I hope I've been of service to you. Thank you.